Imagine living in a situation where you truly do not know at any given second what will happen to you. Will that missile or bomb fall on you or one of your fellow citizens?
This is Mariam, a conceptual artist based in Tehran, seen here in a stylized self-portrait. Since February 28th, we've heard very little from Iranians inside Iran, living through the realities of war, cut off from the outside world by a brutal regime. Mariam managed to send us voice messages of her daily experiences.
We know when a fighter jet is overhead and that we must wait for the explosion. And those seconds between the sound of the jet and the blast are unbearable.
She's created these highly composed images of friends posing in Tehran over the last 3.5 weeks.
There was a horrifying sound. The house shook. Then came the screams. The scene was apocalyptic. I saw a body without a head. I saw a hand separated from a body. I saw a father crying out, searching for his son.
And even outside the capital, which has seen fewer strikes, this dual U.S.-Iranian citizen who asked us not to use her name for her safety is sheltering with relatives.
At any moment, any place could become dangerous. I worry about the life I built. A life I loved and hoped would improve, but it feels like we are losing everything.
The people we spoke with tell us divisions are deepening.
What I fear is the fragmentation of Iran. What I fear is a civil war in Iran. I'm angry at some of my own people who believe that a military attack would bring us freedom, ignoring the experiences of Iraq, Afghanistan, Libya, and many other countries.
Another woman who recently returned to Iran to care for her aging parents has similar fears.
People who were united before against the Islamic Republic are now divided themselves. I had the worst argument ever with my own sister who supports the war.
For some Iranians outside of the country, like Parnia, whose whole family still lives there, this is a price worth paying.
We Iranians, we tried 47 years. We tried everything, all the methods in the book. And we only faced guns and prisons and executions.
Are there complicated feelings watching your homeland obviously be attacked by America and Israel, but also holding that hope? Like, how do you hold those two things?
One day I wake up and half of my brain decides to be happy about what's happening. The other day I'm just like, but my country is getting hit.
But for Nagar, also here in London, war is never the answer.
War was always going to leave us with worse outcomes. You can't free the people you're bombing. People who don't have the security of, just walking down the street are not free.
And freedom and a future decided by Iranians is something everyone we spoke with hopes for. But inside the country, there's still the constant threat of death.
I love Tehran. This is the city where I was born and grew up, and I want to die here. If Tehran is going to fall, then I will fall with it.
I hope these bitter days will pass, that Iran's future will be bright, and that we will finally have the natural right of a free country, a country without foreign interference and without invasion.
Molly Hunter is joining us now. Thank you so much, Molly, for that incredible reporting there. I think Parnia put it so well. It's not just a debate between whether or not you agree or disagree with the war, but this internal debate I think so many Iranians are feeling in the diaspora, especially about whether or not their homeland will survive this war, but then also could there be potential change? Could there be freedom? Could the people that have been exiled from Iran for so long potentially return? But will there be a country to even return to? And then also having the feeling of, but the diaspora are not the ones that are actually living through it and having to survive the bombing that is happening on an hourly basis inside Iran.
Yeah, Yasmin, and you know as well as anyone in the diaspora how complicated it is to hold multiple kind of true feelings at once. Parnia and I spoke a lot about what it felt like to feel hope that even with this high cost, there might be some change that Iranians have yearned for, have died for the last 47 years, but also the hopelessness that what they've done so far. What they did in January didn't actually move the needle, but then also terrified for the safety of their loved ones. What I heard from everyone, Yasmin, is that everyone, and you heard that in the last soundbite right there, everyone wants a free Iran. Everyone wants an Iranian future that is decided by Iranians. But Yasmin, I think the point that you made about the diaspora is really interesting. I think the divisions in the diaspora are almost more exposed because we have access to people and people feel more free speaking, obviously, about it. But people, and I'm sure you can attest to this, have lost friends, have been fighting within their families. I think it's a really, really complex issue.
Yeah, and there's major internal divisions amongst the diaspora that felt very unified at one point, for instance, around the Women Life Freedom movement or around wanting a new regime. But now it feels like there's so much internal divide amongst the diaspora with this war that is currently ongoing. I will also say that it is incredibly heroic for anybody right now inside Iran to be sharing their voices and their opinions on what is happening, and even folks that are outside of Iran, because people feel very worried and scared that they will, in fact, be targeted by the current Iranian regime. And the regime itself domestically has threatened those people inside Iran that if, in fact, they engage with foreign media, they will be targeted. So it's a very real threat. Molly Hunter, thank you for bringing us this. Appreciate it.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.